All right, folks. I'm really excited that you guys were able to jump on here with me tonight. I'm going to take hopefully about 30 minutes to, first of all, kind of introduce myself to those of you that don't know me. I know we have a few people on the line that have called in and aren't able to see the computer. So I am going to be sharing some slides tonight. And so if you are calling in and you can't see the slides, I will. We're recording this, and so hopefully we'll be able to share that with you. If not, we will be doing this on a regular basis. So I would invite you to join us again when we do it. And what I want to do tonight is I want to talk about what Isagenix is, why we need it, and then talk a little bit more also about kind of what nutritional cleansing is, and talk a little bit about some of the products. But I'm not going to dive too terribly deep into all of it, because what we want to do is just provide an overview, so that it continues the conversations that you may already be having with folks that have already made this decision, and are, have been talking to you about what this is, and you may have some questions. So before we dive deep into it, and I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna be sharing some slides, and so I'm gonna keep the visual of me on here for a minute, but I'm actually gonna end my video as well, so that I can share the screen without you guys being distracted with my face being on the screen. But before I do that, I want to kind of give you a quick background on myself. Meredith and I were introduced to this about almost 3 years ago. And when we first got this brought into our life, I was very skeptical. I didn't think that it could possibly have any value because I had never heard of it. And I've kind of been a gym rat for, I don't know, the last 15 or 20 years now. And, I kind of felt like I knew everything that you needed to know about health and nutrition and how to build a body. I've competed in bodybuilding competitions and actually training for another one right now. And when this came into our life, I wasn't that far removed from having competed. And I felt like, because this wasn't something you could get in any of the quote unquote health food stores that I was buying my supplements from, or it wasn't in any of the magazines that I read, or the athletes that I follow, weren't talking about it, or I had never heard of it. So because I hadn't heard of it, it had to have been, some kind of scam, right? So Meredith, actually, we needed it for her. Truthfully, her digestive issues that she has dealt with for most of her life had really come to a place where she wasn't able to really eat and be comfortable. We knew some of the dairy allergies that she had and some other food allergies that she was challenged with, but we really we didn't know that there was a solution. And so when this was brought to her, we were kind of at our wit's end, and because there was this kind of safety net of this money back guarantee, I thought, well, it's worth a shot. Well, fast forward, the results that she got were undeniable. She lost some weight, but the thing that I really saw was this just crazy energy that she had. And she was bouncing off the wall, and we'd been together at that point for 16 years, and I had never seen her with that kind of energy. So meanwhile, I'm drinking like 10 or 12 cups of coffee a day, using highly caffeinated pre-workout drinks and energy drinks. And I mean, it was basically caffeine from sun up to sundown. And, I was dragging. I mean, it was almost having like a reverse effect on me. It seemed like the more I drank, caffeine, the worse it got. The more tired I got, the more sluggish I was. And it was really creating quite a challenge for me. And so, when I saw her bouncing off the wall, I was like, well, I really need to check into this some more. And then I started to look into the protein, and, we'll talk about that product here in just a bit. But, I felt like if it was going to be something that was giving her that energy, it was worth a shot for me. And so about a month later, I opened up an account for myself and ordered product. And that's been like a little less than 3 years ago now. So it's to say that it's impacted our life at a very high level would be a gross understatement. I mean, it has really impacted our family so richly that we really just can't stop talking about it. And I don't want to, I get kind of fired up about that part of it. And I don't want to go too much into our story anymore. I'd be happy to share that on another call or with you guys on a more one-on-one basis if you want. Because I don't want to take more of your time. So I'm going to stop my video for a moment and share my screen so we can kind of dig into this thing a little deeper. Let's see. All right, so what is Isagenix? We oftentimes get lumped into this weight loss category, but we really are a solutions-based company. And while this is a sampling of those solutions and kind of the 4 main solutions, there are lots of other solutions that we provide. And so weight loss is, like I said, the one that we probably get tied into most frequently because it is one of the most common quote unquote side effects of optimal nutrition. But energy and performance, healthy aging, wealth creation. And, as you kind of look at those things, I'd like you to just kind of think about what if it's just one or all or a combination of kind of what of that gets you excited. I gave you a little bit of my background. That's me and my beautiful bride, Meredith, there. While we had our transformations, and really what was quite interesting to me is, like I said, I was only a couple months removed from a competition, and I was probably at that point in the best external shape of my life. And if I'd stepped on a scale, the scale wouldn't have told you that I needed to lose any weight. And you couldn't have looked at me on the external and seen that I needed to lose weight. But after my first 30 days, I actually lost a few pounds, and it was that visceral fat, that really scary fat on the inside of my body. Like I said, our energy went through the roof. We were, really fired up. And what happened is that we really wanted to just continue to talk about this with people. So we really felt like it was almost like a calling on our lives to just share our experience, share what we've seen in the time that we've been doing this. And since we started, over 7,000 people have made a decision to change their trajectory of their health. And so it's really been quite a blessing on our lives and obviously the lives of quite a few others. So we asked the question, why do we need Isagenix? Well, I think it's safe to say that we can all agree there's a health crisis, not only in the United States, but really in the world. But speaking directly about the US, 1 in 2.2 people will develop cancer. And then in the 1950s, that was 1 in 12. The statistics around breast cancer, it's a 30% increase in the last 25 years. Nearly 1.3 million women will be diagnosed with it. Diabetes, cases of diabetes, thyroid issues, autoimmune disease. I didn't even know what an autoimmune disease was, let alone like how impactful it can really be in somebody's life. And here, we're seeing and hearing so many people being diagnosed with it. And all these other issues that are stemming from some kind of health crisis. Obesity is on the rise. 2/3 of Americans are clinically overweight. And the really scary one, the statistic about children, 1 out of 3 children are overweight. I have 3 kids ranging from the ages of 10 to almost 9 months. And, if I can make an impact on their life it is something that I am very passionate about. Matter of fact, there's a statistic that I don't have here that says that this is the first generation of kids that have a shorter life expectancy than their parents. And that is quite scary. But I'm not here to, fear monger or do anything to try and make someone make a decision out of emotion. I'm just stating fact. And so what's causing our health crisis? Well, we're deficient from a vitamins and minerals standpoint. Our food sources are deficient in these areas, whether it be because we are over farming, we're turning soil over faster, we are doing things to try and create a harvest much faster so that we can have a better impact financially on the return of a crop. And we're toxic. 95% of Americans are acidic and 87% are clinically overweight, like I said before. And so there is this thought process that, because we can't get all the nutrients that we need from our food because they are deficient, that some level of supplementation is critical. I mean, even as basic as, taking a vitamin, and many people, if we surveyed a room full of people and said, do you take some form of vitamin, a multivitamin or something like that, probably most people would raise their hands. Whereas, probably 50 years ago, that wasn't necessary because the food sources were really, much more dense, and the vitamins and minerals that are naturally occurring were there. So we talk about, I've used the word toxic. So what's a toxin? Well, a toxin is really kind of any foreign substance that enters the body, and it can come from so many different areas, whether it's because of some kind of pesticide or herbicide that's sprayed, whether it's a GMO, whether it's something that's in the air, that's something that's in our water, the things that we put on our skin, our cleaning supplies, the protectant that's on our our mattresses, and all these different things, fire retardant on the seats in your car and in your furniture. They're all chemicals, and our bodies are ingesting them, whether it's through what we breathe or what we drink or what gets soaked into our skin. And there's all kinds of studies. One that really sticks out is this one that was done actually back in 2004. So, a number of years ago, this was already very prevalent. But they tested, I think it was, I don't remember the number of the actual people in the study, but they were testing for 413 different toxic chemicals. And of those 413, they found 287 of them. And of the 287, 212 were industrial chemicals that had been banned over 30 years ago. So there was this, where is that stuff coming from? And the really crazy thing about this particular study, and you can go and Google the Red Cross study, but their sampling, if you will, the people that were they were being tested, were actually newborn babies, and the blood that they were taking was from their umbilical cord. So even in this super safe environment of the womb, these babies are being kind of inundated with chemicals that are passing through from mom, because it's in our air, it's in our water, it's in our ground, and so we're getting this from kind of all angles. And oftentimes people say, well, I eat clean. Well, that's awesome. It certainly is better to eat organic if you can do it than to eat conventional, but these numbers represent the allowable levels of chemicals that the FDA will allow to call something organic versus conventional. So even if we are eating clean, we're still getting some level of chemical that we're ingesting through our food. The health problems that come with obesity and toxicity I mean, you could probably look at this list if you can see my screen and see something on there that either you have dealt with yourself or someone that you are very close to has dealt with. And I myself have dealt with many of the things that are on this list. And, it's just a lot of it is a byproduct of this world that we live in, unfortunately. So, the bottom line is, our immune system is what we have been graced with to fight off, all of this intrusion. We have the ability to naturally detoxify ourselves. We have defense mechanisms that are built into our DNA to try and protect us. But because it's an onslaught, it is a barrage of this stuff every time we step out into the world, our bodies can't keep up. And so, at the end of the day, we got to have some kind of solution to try and, get ourselves into an environment that we operate better. I like to use the analogy from a fuel standpoint. The fuel that we put into our bodies has to be the best possible fuel it can so the body can work the way it was designed to. And I like to use the analogy of a sports car. If you went to a dealership and you bought a high, performance sports car, and let's say I like Ferrari. So we'll say with Ferrari, you drive a Ferrari off a lot, you drive around town, and it's time to put fuel in it. That thing was designed to have high octane fuel. You pull it to the gas pump and you put some kind of low grade something in it, it's going to work, but it's not going to work the way it was designed to. And so is true with our bodies. Our bodies were designed to have optimal fuel. And unfortunately, especially in this country, the food sources that we have are really deficient. And so we are all fighting a battle. And anytime that we can find something to help us fight efficiently, we should jump on it. So, what do we do to solve this? Well, we believe that nutritional cleansing and supplementation is really key. And, we'll talk a little bit of like I said, about a couple products and kind of what that nutritional cleansing really means. And again, for those of you that can see my screen, I have this acidic alkaline spectrum up. Probably reviewed this in, I don't know, middle school maybe, or life science of some sort. And it's just showing that, the scale of acidic foods versus alkaline foods. And, ideally, we want to be in a neutral environment, if not slightly alkaline, because, there was actually some Nobel Prize winning research done back in in the 30s, where this doctor found that cancer can't thrive in an alkaline, oxygen-rich environment. But conversely, it actually thrives in an acidic environment. So, if that wasn't enough of a benefit, there are all kinds of other benefits of getting the body into at least a neutral or alkaline environment. The energy increase, the body naturally sheds weight. Our digestion is better. We tend to sleep better. The aging process is slowed down significantly. And for many, this, inflammation is reduced. And so and inflammation in the gut especially is the stem of many of the autoimmune diseases that are rampant today. And quite a lot of struggle that people have physically can be tied back to inflammation. So, again, we want to try and create an environment for the body to be able to do this for itself. Like I said at the very beginning, one of the things that we get kind of lumped into is this weight loss category. And because so many people have tried diets, when I do this in a live environment in front of a group, I will ask people, raise your hand if you've ever tried a diet. And I don't know that I've ever had a time when someone didn't raise their hand. And then, the next question is, well, if you've tried a diet, was it successful? And for some, success is a kind of a general term because you may have lost weight, but oftentimes we gain that weight back. And so the reason for that is that when we are using a restrictive type diet, we are only addressing part of the problem. Yes, let's make some better health choices and eliminate fast food or eliminate fats or sugars or things that are not healthy for us. But we're not addressing what's going on the inside. So we have impurities in the body. We know that we're ingesting toxins from the air, the water, the food that we eat. And so what the body does from a defense mechanism standpoint is when some kind of impurity enters the body, a little bit of water and a little bit of fat is taken, and it surrounds the impurity and kind of sticks it off to the side so that it can be protected from the organs, or the organs of the body are protected. And this is what forms visceral fat. So these fat stores are built up inside the body and you can't see it. So when we reduce the square footage, if you will, of a body, because we've done some kind of elimination, we've done some smart choices, and maybe we've even started to exercise, we make the body smaller. But what happens is the kind of square footage ratio of space to impurity is increased because the square footage of the body has gotten smaller, and so the body senses that as like an increased level of impurity. So it actually goes into emergency fat production to try and protect itself, and we tend to rebound. We jokingly say we gain weight back with friends, and so the difference between this, this type of elimination diet and nutritional cleansing is we're still going to make healthy choices. We're going to fuel the body with the best possible fuel we can. We're going to encourage people to begin to exercise or to continue to exercise. But we're also going to address the impurities so that when we release that fat and when we release something, we set it free. So when we release something, we're letting it go and we never want to find it again. When we lose something, oftentimes we're trying to find it again, right? You lose your dog, you want to go find the dog, but you release it into the wild, you're releasing it back into its environment. So we release these toxins, these impurities, and then we increase overall health. And that weight loss that occurs is actually sustained. So we have people that have been doing this for 13 or 14 years, and their weight loss either continues or it levels out, once they've hit their goals. So, that's kind of the difference. And with, with this program, if you will, we have what we call shake days and cleanse days. Really at the end of the day, you got to start out with what your goals are. And so this is, if you can see my screen, you can see that there's a couple of different packs, if you will, that are on there. One is what we call the rewards pack. It is really set up for the best results because it is one of the most comprehensive programs that we have, kind of the best bang for your buck, if you will. But there is a starter pack that does give you the basic starting products, and you will have great goals or great success rather, but maybe not quite as great as some of the other options if they fit your budget. But at the end of the day, we want it to be something that you can do and do efficiently and effectively without being too intrusive. So to cover a couple of the products, Isoline shakes, obviously one of the core products that we have, clinically proven to burn fat and support lean muscle production. Because it's a full meal replacement, it oftentimes your body won't crave more increased energy. The body will naturally start to kind of adjust the cholesterol levels so that your healthy cholesterol is increased and the unhealthy cholesterol is reduced. It's the thing that makes our protein source, or rather protein, so special is that it is the way that it is sourced. And it's sourced primarily from New Zealand, where they have the highest food standards in the world. It's undenatured, meaning it's not heated to a boiling point where all of the natural occurring digestive enzymes and the key nutrients are still all intact. The branched chain amino acids are still intact. And it's 99.9% lactose free for easier digestion. Even those folks that have lactose intolerance are able to consume these without any problem. We also do have a dairy-free line for those that need it for dietary restriction or lifestyle. No chemicals, no artificial flavors, no artificial ingredients of any kind. So it really is. If you can find a better protein source, I would love to see it, because I have tried many of the proteins on the market, and hands down, I have had the best results with this one. Our Cleanse for Life product, it is created to naturally support the body in the opportunity or in its process of eliminating toxins. So this natural detoxification process that happens within the body, all we do is support it with over 100 nutrients, a very nutritionally dense product that supports that process. And so on a cleanse day, it's really intermittent fasting. We are just fueling the body so that it can do what it is designed to do. And then Ionic Supreme, which is kind of another pillar of ours, of this system, if you will. The body will use it the way that it needs it. So everybody could take it at a different time, and each person, or we could rather all take it together, and each person would have a different result, because each person's body is going to use it the way that it needs it. And so because there are adaptogenic herbs within this product, and many people, kind of common themes, common responses that we hear: increased energy. I love it for muscle recovery. It can sometimes the body use it as an anti-inflammatory, relieve some level of stress, whether it's physical, emotional, mental. And so it is probably, I call it liquid gold. It's probably my favorite product. I've got a little bit of a warning here. We've got 5 minutes left on this version of the call. So I'm just going to kind of blaze through this, and we always want to make sure that we're compliant in what we say. And so we never claim to heal, cure, treat, or diagnose anything. All we're saying is that when you fuel the body the way that it was designed to be fueled, it can be the miracle that it was designed to be. And so, we're just putting good fuel in the body, and the results are oftentimes undeniable. And so I just want to run through a few screenshots or a few slides of some folks on our team that have had amazing results, and then we'll wrap this thing up. So, I'm not going to talk about each person. I'm just going to kind of go through them, because really what you see are real people. These are not models. This guy's lost over 100 pounds. He was actually celebrated on stage at our most recent event, and I'm just so unbelievably proud of him, because he used to be a 300-pound smoker, and now he is a fit triathlete. And his wife got her husband back, and his kids got their dad back. So again, just real people on our team. I love this one. Check out the position of the phone. Day 1, we're hiding behind it. Day 2, we're feeling okay. Day 30, we're feeling okay. Day 45, we are pretty proud of ourselves. So again, just people, real people on our team, not models, just folks that have had amazing results watching the body do what it's supposed to do when you fuel it properly. Again, and these folks we are so proud of. And then there's, those are our teammates that you're seeing there amongst thousands of others. And then there's some other folks, like this lady is one of the top fitness and figure coaches in the world, and her folks are cover models. They win their competitions, and they're all fueling their bodies with these products. Lots of former professional athletes who oftentimes say, this guy, Brandon Jacobs, if you can see the screen, 2-time Super Bowl champion running back for the New York Giants, said from the stage not long ago that had he had these products, he likely would have been able to play at least a couple years longer, because he feels better now than he did when he was playing. And he's had multiple surgeries on his knees and a number of other ailments that, being a football player have created for himself. But he talks a lot about how he feels now compared to how he used to feel, and he kind of says, "I wish I had this before." So these athletes are not sponsored by Isagenix. They use the products just like you or I would, and we are not going. We just don't. We don't pay them to do that. They get paid just like anybody else does. So the next steps, really, just to wrap this up, because I'm getting the 1 minute warning here. Think about, do you or someone want to have improved health and digestion, maybe lose some weight, live a bit more energetically, gain some confidence, or help others change their lives? And so with that, I want to thank you guys for joining me tonight. And, go back to the person who invited you to this call and ask them what you can do next. And, if you have more questions, ask them. I'm more than happy to get on a call with you if you want to dive a bit deeper into something else. And again, thanks for your time, and I hope you guys all have a blessed night.